The Spaceworld, a story of creation, destiny, and the universe that lies beyond our own. Part 1. The Origins. Deep underground, secret experiments were conducted to create human-animal hybrids. The goal was to develop advanced intuitive and special abilities that could be used to locate gateways to other worlds. One of these experiments produced a man-beaver hybrid with an exceptional aptitude for intuition and target location. The man was trained in martial arts and placed into a secret space program. This hybrid agent was given a simple code name, Beaver. It seemed fitting. Beavers built lodges with underwater access tunnels, reaching the outer world from below, escaping Plato's cave, in a sense. Perhaps there was some spiritual connection there, something instinctual that gave him his gift. Unbeknownst to humanity, the US government had discovered doorways through the etheric plane while designing components of etheric fabrication technology. This research led to the discovery of a nearby plane called Gazupion, an Earth-like world inhabited by blue-skinned beings with large ears. A secret deal was struck between Earth and Gazupion. Over the years, culture and technology flowed between the two worlds. Alien inventions were repackaged and sold to the public as cutting-edge Earth technology to recoup research costs. Meanwhile, Gazupian citizens adopted Earth's cultural trends as a kind of stylish movement, even learning to speak human languages. The hidden trade between the two worlds continued for decades, quietly shaping the lives of both species. Among the Gazupian people was an agent whose name was unpronounceable in any human tongue. Brought to an Earth facility to train humans in the operation of alien weapons and explosives, this being became such a valuable asset that it was eventually given the codename Little Companion. Companion was assigned to Beaver as his partner and his guide into things not of the earthly plane. Behind the scenes, humanity was constructing the largest interstellar craft ever built, assembled using etheric atomic fabricators outside the atmosphere, capable of bending space-time itself. The ship was designed to explore the edge of the universe and send undistorted communications directly back to Earth from any location. On the ship's completion, Beaver was tasked by a secret US organization to explore the cosmos in search of powerful locations, lost relics, and alien life. Beaver and Little Companion accepted the mission and departed into the unknown, diving into the universe to experience its wonders and horrors. They reported periodically to Beaver's Earth contact, R. Coleman. Agent Companion also brought along a gifted and highly intelligent turtle named Agent Hermit Shell, who served as their calm and passive shuttle pilot for various missions to come. Part 2. The Discovery of the Ancient Brother. After many adventures, encounters with alien species, and the recovery of powerful relics, Beaver learned of a rare alien race said to travel between hidden realities layered beyond ordinary perception. Intrigued, he sent Little Companion to investigate a specific ancient tower on a barren planet, a possible location of one of these interdimensional beings. Inside the crumbling structure, Companion miraculously discovered one such creature, kept in stasis within a shrine deep inside the tower. When he attempted to contain it, the disruption of its energy field caused the ancient structure to collapse around him. Barely escaping with the being, Companion returned to the ship. where he and Beaver began studying the mysterious entity. During testing, the creature linked psychically with Beaver's mind, sending him vivid visions of the galaxy. Vast constellations swirling around a strange, floating obelisk suspended over a void. The experience left Beaver haunted, shaken, and obsessed with understanding what he had seen. Sometime later, the research was paused when the agents were invited to Gazupian to attend an award ceremony in their honor. Still in a fugue state from his alien visions, Beaver barely managed to complete his acceptance speech. Concerned for his partner's sanity, Companion confronted him afterward. At that very moment, Beaver received another vision. This one of a Gazupian citizen being kidnapped by a shadowy figure. The two agents immediately raced into action, pursuing the perpetrator through the sky in a hovercar. After a tense chase, they managed to rescue the victim and transfer them safely into their vehicle. Using data from Agent Hermit Shell's shuttle, the team tracked the kidnapper to a rendezvous point. There, a Gazupian citizen conferred with the kidnapper. Eavesdropping, Companion learned the shocking truth. The kidnapping had been a ruse, meant to draw the agents out and deliver them a mysterious offer. The citizen, who identified himself as Herther, claimed to operate from the planet Erinis. Companion discovered that Herther now ruled the final surviving Lochrins, an alien race still struggling to endure on the shattered world of Erinis. Companion returned to Beaver with the information, confused by Herther's mention of Erinis, a planet they had previously saved and left barren and uninhabitable. Nevertheless, the agents decided to travel there and confront this enigmatic figure. Upon meeting Herther, they discovered he was a scientist who already knew of the alien creatures they had been studying. He referred to them as the Ancient Brothers, legendary beings said to be responsible for the creation of the inhabited universe itself. Herther explained that he had detected a cosmic disturbance, one he believed was linked to Beaver's discovery. He revealed that he had been developing technology capable of harnessing the power of the Ancient Brothers, granting its wielder unparalleled access to the universe. Herther proposed an alliance. He and Beaver would bring the captured being to his underground lab on Erinis to conduct joint experiments. Beaver agreed. Deep beneath Herther's compound, they connected sensors to the entity and extracted a potential origin point, a distant location at what appeared to be the edge of the universe. Herther prepared a portal chamber and specialized suits for interdimensional travel. Together, he and Beaver stepped into the portal and emerged on an asteroid suspended above a black void, with the glowing dandelion-like core of the universe shimmering far in the distance. Back on Erinis, Companion meditated alone on a grassy hill, reflecting on their journeys. Suddenly, a spectral being appeared before him, an apparition resembling his own species, but clothed in flowing garments. The entity revealed that Beaver had been touched by the power of the Ancient Brother, and that he and Herther had embarked on a dangerous quest beyond the universe's edge. The spirit warned Companion to take heed. Panicked, Companion rushed back to the ship to tell Hermit Shell. The spectre appeared once more before them both, producing a small black ring and a dark obelisk. Without explanation, he handed the artifacts to Companion, who stored them safely before returning to the Gazupian mansion to await Beaver and Herther's return. Meanwhile, on the distant asteroid, Herther used an etheric materializer to construct a small vessel for further travel. They launched into the darkness, venturing away from the light of known space. Beaver grew uneasy and questioned what they hoped to find. Before Herther could answer, their ship nearly collided with an endless barren desert stretching into infinity. When the craft malfunctioned and was destroyed, the two were forced to eject, Beaver spiraling into an existential rage, furious at Herther's reckless pursuit of the unknown. Yet Herther remained eerily calm, as if accepting their doom. Then, as Beaver regained his composure, he realized the landscape matched the vision granted by the ancient brother. He and Herther pressed forward and soon came upon a floating obelisk, and a being draped in ethereal robes, who identified himself as the Possessor. The Possessor explained that they had reached a place beyond the universe, one that existed outside all perception. From here, countless paths branched outward, but the only way home led through a realm known as the Dark Macrocosm. Together, Beaver and Herther entered that realm, an infernal wasteland filled with tortured souls and skeletal guardians. Fighting through chaos and despair, they reached a massive fortress where Herther was nearly dragged into the abyss by a lurking beast before Beaver pulled him to safety. Finding an ancient elevator as their only route forward, they descended into darkness. As they sank deeper, the rocky tunnel walls shifted into a grotesque, fleshy interior, as if they were passing through the insides of a living organism. Then the ancient chains gave way, and the elevator plummeted endlessly into the black void below. Part 3. The Return, Herther's Fall, and the Rise of the Cult of Neco. Meanwhile, back on Gazupion, Companion and Hermit Shell waited anxiously for Beaver and Herther's return. One evening, Companion examined the mysterious ring that the Possessor had gifted him on a whim. He slipped it onto his finger. His vision immediately distorted, allowing him to see through the obelisk sitting across the room. To his shock, he could see Hermit Shell's face perfectly through it, as though the obelisk were a window. At the same time, deep in the dark macrocosm, Beaver and Herther awoke to find the elevator lodged sideways in the living walls of the fleshy shaft. Against all odds, they had survived the fall, though trapped. In despair, Beaver began to dig through the pulsing surface, believing there might be a way out. Herther hesitated, but followed. Together, they burst through to the other side and emerged onto a massive bridge suspended over a void. Ahead, they saw an immense portal, and in the distance, a colossal bearded god slowly striding toward them. Beaver revealed that during the elevator fall, the Possessor had spoken to him through a vision the being had told him that if they reached the portal, guarded by a divine sentinel known as the Primordial Sacrosanct, they would be faced with a choice: to return home or remain behind and gain the power of a god. As the Sacrosanct's thunderous steps shook the bridge, Herther's greed surfaced. He declared that he would stay behind and claim divinity for himself. Beaver pleaded with him to reconsider, warning that the realm was meant to punish, not reward. But Herther's mind was already lost to obsession. The bridge collapsed under the strain, and Herther fell into the clouds below, as Beaver barely managed to leap through the portal before the Sacrosanct arrived. Beaver returned home to Gazupion, alive but haunted. He reunited with Companion and Hermit Shell, yet could not shake visions of Herther still trapped somewhere in the dark macrocosm. Disillusioned and exhausted, Beaver vowed to retire from space exploration and remain on Gazupian to recover. Companion, however, had taken on a new purpose. Now leading a crime watch operation in the city, he urged Beaver to join him in investigating a series of mysterious kidnappings. Though still plagued by guilt, Beaver agreed. The two set up surveillance across the city, waiting for the perpetrators to strike. When a suspicious hovercar abducted a woman, Hermit Shell, patrolling from the sky, tracked it to an isolated church outside the city. Beaver and companions stormed the location and found it crawling with robed cultists worshipping a dark statue. A firefight erupted. When the dust settled, the agents took one surviving cult member back to their mansion for interrogation. The captive was traumatized and incoherent. Desperate for answers, Beaver used an experimental neural link to connect his mind to the cultists. He found himself in a surreal smoky realm, the domain of Neco, god of death and ruler of the eternally damned. Around him, souls drifted upward through clouds of darkness. On a distant throne, the towering form of Neco loomed silently. When Beaver approached and demanded to know the fate of Herther, Neco answered. Herther, he said, had not gained the light of the primordial sacrosanct. He had fallen before touching it. But Neco had seen Herther's lust for power and granted him a different gift, dark godhood. Herther had become Neco's chosen, imbued with his shadow, destined to destroy Beaver. Neco spoke with cold finality, saying Herther now blamed Beaver for his fall and sought vengeance, not only out of hatred, but from a relentless hunger to capture the remaining ancient brothers. Beaver returned from the vision shaken but resolute. He immediately contacted his Earth handler, R. Coleman, requesting permission to resume duty and leave Gazupian. Before the transmission could complete, a second signal broke through. An incoming message from a red-striped Gazupian with 4 pointed ears, who introduced himself as Bothian. Bothian claimed to have followed Beaver's story and offered information he said would change everything. Granted permission to visit the mansion, he revealed that he had captured another ancient brother and was developing technology to harness its power. He demonstrated his invention, a vault pack, a small containment vessel worn like a backpack, linked to a camera and screen array. Inside the vault pack, the ancient brother could perceive the world through the wearer's eyes. If danger was detected, the being would instinctively defend the wearer by taking temporary control, granting immense power, though at great personal risk. Seeing potential in this device, Beaver and his team agreed to work with Bothian. Together, they formulated a plan. Beaver would return to the dark macrocosm, equipped with the vault pack, to confront Herther, a mortal empowered by the light, against a god born of darkness. Beaver stepped into the portal chamber once more and vanished. He emerged in the dark macrocosm, where the air shimmered with unnatural energy. Almost immediately, he was attacked by a dark sentinel apparition, leaving 3 deep scars across his forehead, marks he would carry for the rest of his life. Pressing onward, Beaver was stunned to find that Herther had transformed the hellscape into a lush, radiant paradise. The once black fortress gleamed white and silver, and the kidnapped citizens of Gazupian now served as worshippers to their savior, the self-proclaimed god, Herther. Herther greeted Beaver warmly but coldly. He offered him sanctuary, then admitted he could not allow him to live otherwise. Beaver's existence was too great a threat to his ascension. Beaver refused. The two clashed, Herther transforming into his fully realized dark form, triggering the Vault Pack's defense system. The ancient brother inside awoke, taking control of Beaver's body. A cataclysmic battle erupted. The two figures tore through the palace, shattering walls and summoning waves of otherworldly energy. Herther spawned armies of damned soldiers, but they were obliterated in moments. In desperation, Herther ripped the Vault Pack from Beaver's back, cutting off his divine link. As Beaver collapsed, Herther opened the pack to see what power it contained. In that instant, the ancient brother burst free, releasing a blinding wave of energy that vaporized Herther and annihilated the surrounding landscape. When the light faded, Beaver was gone, spirited away by unknown means. Days later, Beaver lay unconscious back on Gasupion, rescued by forces neither Companion nor Bothion could explain. They watched the recovered camera footage in awe, wondering whether Herther had truly been destroyed. But deep in the ruins of the ancient tower where Companion had first found the alien being, Herther still lived, imprisoned by two surviving ancient brothers, forever sealed in stasis beneath the stone. Months passed. Beaver remained in a coma, while Companion, Bothion, and Hermit Shell defended their mansion against cultists loyal to Herther. During one quiet night, Beaver's consciousness stirred. Within his dream, he found himself standing once again in a desert void, facing the Possessor. The Spectre told him that he had defeated Herther and that the ancient brother had saved him from death. When Beaver admitted he remembered none of it, the Possessor explained that his body still slept on Gasupion. He revealed that when Beaver and Herther had first entered the dark macrocosm, the primordial sacrosanct had already sensed Beaver's coming through the ancient brother's psychic link. The sacrosanct's true purpose had been to take Beaver to a realm known as Mundus. The Possessor instructed Beaver to seek the alternate tower. There, using the tools he had been given, he would open the path to Mundus. Part 4. The Journey to Mundus and the Revelation of the Ancient Brothers. When Beaver awoke from his coma, he immediately began retraining to regain his physical strength for what he believed would be his most important mission yet. He gathered his team, Companion, Bothion, and Hermit Shell, and told them about his vision and the message delivered by the Possessor. Bothion remained skeptical of the Spectre's existence, dismissing it as a delusion born of trauma. But Companion defended Beaver, revealing that the Possessor had also appeared to him in the past, and had given him two strange artifacts, a ring and an obelisk. He theorized that these objects might be the key to opening the path to Mundus, and that the alternate tower, mentioned in Beaver's dream, could be located on the opposite side of the planet, from the original tower where they had discovered the first ancient brother. The team agreed to investigate. Beaver contacted R. Coleman on Earth to update the organization. Coleman, regretful for ever doubting Beaver's instincts, congratulated him on the defeat of Herther and offered backup. Beaver politely declined, insisting that this was something his team had to face alone. Soon, their ship descended upon the barren landscape of the distant hemisphere. At the coordinates given by the Possessor, they found nothing but rubble. remnants of what had once been an enormous tower. The site appeared to have been destroyed ages ago. Only a circular stone platform remained, surrounded by gravestone-like markers arranged in a ring. Examining the site, Companion noticed a circular indentation in the floor's center and smaller ring-shaped impressions before each stone marker. Retrieving the mysterious obelisk and ring from the ship, he placed the obelisk in the central slot and fitted the ring into one of the matching engravings. For a long moment, nothing happened. The wind whistled through the ruins. Bothion made a sarcastic comment under his breath. Then the ground trembled. The obelisk erupted with a blinding beam of energy, and the circular floor began to split open like a massive iris, each section retracting to reveal a glowing bottomless shaft beneath them. Without hesitation, Beaver, Companion, Bothion, and even Hermit Shell leapt into the light, disappearing into the depths as the stone floor sealed shut above them. The team awoke groggy and disoriented in a sealed stone chamber lit by a faint golden glow. For a moment, they thought they were dead. Then Hermit Shell spotted a small alien beetle crawling across the floor and vanishing into a crack in the wall. Taking it as a sign, Beaver kicked through the cracked stone to reveal a narrow passageway leading toward daylight. Emerging from the corridor, they found themselves within the outer walls of a massive fortress, surrounded by high cliffs and alien vegetation. Ahead stood enormous sealed gates, carved from the same ancient stone as the ruins above. As they searched for a way to open the doors, Beaver accidentally stepped on a hidden floor switch. With a deep rumble, the gates slowly parted, revealing an alien garden beyond, an overgrown courtyard where translucent, weakened creatures moved sluggishly through the shadows. They were smaller, thinner versions of the ancient brothers, malnourished, yet still faintly glowing with divine energy. Following the winding paths through the garden, the team reached a high observation point. There, looming in the distance, sat the primordial sacrosanct, motionless upon a mountain throne, its immense eyes fixed upon them like the gaze of eternity itself. They continued along the mountain's outer walkway until they came to a circular chamber embedded into the fortress wall. Inside, the floor was carved into a complex star map, its constellations engraved in glowing lines of light. As the team gazed upon it, the room filled with blinding radiance, and the possessor appeared once again. His mere presence caused Bothion's camera to overload and die, leaving the rest of their journey undocumented. For the first time, all four of them witnessed the spectral being together. The possessor told them that they had indeed reached Mundus, the first material world ever created. He explained that the fortress and the surrounding realm had been built as a home for the ancient brothers, who were the universe's original architects. In the beginning, Mundus had been a paradise. The brothers lived together in harmony, creating the first flora, fauna, and energy forms. But over time, they grew curious about what lay beyond. Within the fortress, they gathered in the circular chamber where the team now stood and crafted the star map, a divine construct that contained the blueprint of the entire universe. Each brother added his own essence to the map, shaping new worlds and species within it. One by one, they ventured into their creations, vanishing into the worlds they had birthed, allowing the universe to evolve independently. But in doing so, they left Mundus abandoned, its life force fading, its gardens withering into desert. As the brothers scattered, their divine light weakened, and darkness filled the spaces they left behind. This darkness eventually gave rise to malevolent entities, creatures that sought to find, enslave, or destroy the brothers to claim their power. The possessor spoke plainly. The entire universe, including Earth, was nothing more than an experiment, an echo of the brothers' imagination given physical form. To beings of those worlds, the brothers would appear as gods. Yet even the brothers themselves had been created by something greater, an unknown origin that even the possessor could not name. He continued, explaining that the primordial sacrosanct remained seated on his mountain throne, waiting patiently for the brothers' return. When they finally reunited, their energy would restore Mundus and return the fortress to its former glory. Berthion, stunned, remarked that only 2 ancient brothers had survived the ouages. The possessor corrected him. All of them still live, he said, but they are scattered and hidden. Some are imprisoned, some asleep, some lost in their own creations. He revealed that the 2 brothers already rescued had returned to the surviving tower. Then he gave Beaver the symbol for the next headstone that would open a new portal, one leading to the location of the next brother. Beaver asked where the final 2 could be found, but the possessor only shook his head. "They are hidden even from me," he said. "You must find them." With a wave of his hand, light engulfed the team, and they were teleported back to the perimeter of the ruined tower where they had first arrived. Back at the tower site, Beaver located the marked headstone corresponding to the possessor's new symbol. After clearing the debris from the engravings, he activated the mechanism. The ground once again split open in a spiral pattern of glowing light, revealing another portal. This time, only Beaver and little companion prepared to descend. Berthion and Hermit Shell volunteered to remain behind to monitor the camera feeds and await their return. Berthion noted that the headstone they were using appeared cracked, as though someone or something had once tried to destroy it. Beaver nodded grimly. "Then we're going where we're not wanted," he said. With that, he and companion leapt into the portal, vanishing into the darkness below. Part 5. The Spider Realm and the Fate of Beaver. Agents Beaver and little companion emerged from the portal into a fractured alien wasteland. The ground stretched in chaotic patterns of canyons and jagged ridges, with the dim light of a dying sky pulsing faintly overhead. The air shimmered with static, and the sound of distant thunder echoed through the alien rock. As they scanned the terrain, Companion noticed a strange, simple-looking creature floating toward Beaver, a glowing organism drifting through the air like a living jellyfish. Beaver stood at the edge of a cliff, unaware of its approach. Before Companion could warn him, the creature darted forward and entered Beaver's head, vanishing in an instant. Beaver convulsed, then toppled backward off the cliff, disappearing into the clouds below. Companion rushed to the edge, calling his name, but there was no response, only swirling mist. Unknown to him, the floating creatures were native to that realm, electrical life forms drawn to neural activity. When they entered a host, they overloaded the brain with energy and burned out instantly, leaving only brief shock in their wake. Beaver survived the fall, landing amid the ruins of a massive half-buried fortress deep within the canyon. The walls were riddled with tunnels and strange organic growths that pulsed faintly, as if alive. Moving cautiously through the structure, Beaver soon realized he was not alone. From the shadows, dozens of small bipedal creatures emerged, humanoid forms clad in scavenged metal armor, their skin red as blood, their eyes vacant. They moved slowly, but with deadly intent. As they surrounded him, Beaver drew his weapon and fought back, firing methodically as the swarm closed in. When the creatures began to overwhelm him, he hurled a spherical explosive into the largest cluster. The blast tore through the floor, collapsing a tower section that fell straight through the level below, dividing the horde and buying Beaver enough time to escape. Panting, he sprinted down a collapsing corridor, just as a massive tentacle broke through the floor. A monstrous thorned slug-like beast rose from the depths, its body pulsing with bioluminescent veins. It let out a low, resonant roar that shook the structure to its foundation. Beaver barely dodged as the tentacle smashed through the walkway behind him. With the floor disintegrating beneath his feet, he leapt into a circular tunnel and slid down into darkness, just as the creature's limb crushed the passage above. Meanwhile, on the surface, Companion remained in shock, convinced Beaver had fallen to his death. As he steadied himself, another of the floating brain creatures appeared. This time, he reacted faster, drawing his weapon and firing. The creature popped mid-air, splattering across the rocks. Kneeling beside the sizzling remains, Companion examined it closely. But before he could react, a second creature slipped through the mist and entered the back of his neck. His vision warped, the sky fracturing into light. And then the possessor appeared. Floating in the sky above him, radiant and calm, the spectre spoke directly to Companion's mind. He told him that Beaver had survived the fall, and that his path would soon intersect with a new danger, one guarding another of the ancient brothers. The possessor promised to guide Companion to the surface location of the creature they sought. Before fading away, he added, "You must hurry. The balance of the realms grows thin." When the vision ended, Companion gasped for air and looked out across the canyon, determined to find the brother. Far below, Beaver descended into a sprawling network of tunnels. With his visor cracked and flashlight flickering, he used infrared goggles and climbing gear to navigate through the darkness. He noticed faint trails of blood seeping from one of the passages ahead. Against his better judgment, he pressed forward. The tunnel widened into a chamber filled with frail, dazed creatures, twisted versions of the surface dwellers he had fought earlier. Their armor was rusted, their movements sluggish. They seemed more like rejected prototypes than soldiers. Realizing they meant no harm, Beaver lowered his weapon and passed through them silently. Eventually, the tunnel opened into a vertical shaft, glowing faintly with greenish light. Beaver secured his rope and began rappelling downward. As he descended, he paused to inspect a small beetle crawling along the stone, a creature almost identical to the one he had seen in Mundus. The resemblance sent a chill through him. He began to wonder whether all life in these realms might somehow be connected by the brother's presence. His thoughts were interrupted when a drop of viscous slime fell onto his shoulder. He looked up, just in time to see a massive shadow descending from above. A monstrous spider-like beast dropped toward him, its body slick and pulsating, with a jaw like a reptile's maw. Its claws tore into the walls, and its fangs snapped inches from his head. The creature's size and speed were impossible. Beaver swung from the rope, slashing at it with his knife, barely managing to wound one of its eyes. It recoiled, screeching, and slammed against the tunnel wall. When the dust cleared, it was still alive, but bleeding and retreating into a larger opening below. Seeing his chance, Beaver leapt onto the beast's back as it fled through the tunnels. The creature roared and thrashed, carrying him through a maze of glowing caverns before finally collapsing in a massive lair chamber. Both combatants were battered, burned, and barely conscious. Beaver tried to stand, but couldn't. His weapon was broken, his suit torn, his vision fading. The light of the cave dimmed. Above ground, Companion followed the possessor's guidance to the edge of the same tunnel system. There, standing in the light of the alien sky, he saw it. The next ancient brother, alive and waiting, its translucent form pulsing with divine energy. The brother raised a hand, and in an instant both Companion and the wounded Beaver were teleported out of the spider realm, returning to the tower planet where Hermit Shell and Bothion waited. Moments later, their ship descended and retrieved them. As the team departed, Beaver, wrapped in bandages, described what he had seen below: the fortress, the horde, and the monstrous spider. He estimated there were hundreds of the beasts dwelling in those tunnels. Bothion, reviewing the recovered footage, called the mission reckless. Companion worried that our Coleman would ground them again for Beaver's injuries, but Beaver just smirked. "At least I'm not in a coma this time," he said. The others laughed softly, though none could shake the lingering unease that Herther's shadow still loomed somewhere out there in the dark. 2 ancient brothers had been rescued, but 2 still remained. Would reuniting the brothers restore balance to the cosmos, or open the door to something far worse? Time passed, and the team embarked on several journeys to locate the remaining ancient brothers. 2 more members joined them along the way, one rescued by the team from a perilous alien prison. Reuniting the brothers was a galactic achievement. But what now? The Dyson sphere and the eternal cycle. With all of the ancient brothers retrieved, the team of 5 explorers convened to reflect on their success. Each of them offered personal theories about how the universe might change now that balance could be restored. For the first time, they allowed themselves to imagine peace. But their celebration was short-lived. Sensors detected movement, an approaching structure so massive it defied belief: a Dyson sphere. The readings confirmed their worst fear. The ultimate power in the universe had been waiting in silence all along, watching, and was now coming to collect the brothers to claim total dominion over creation. Hopelessness filled the room. As panic spread, the possessor appeared before them, radiant and calm. He revealed a hidden location where the ancient brothers now waited. Hope flickered anew. If they could reach the brothers in time, perhaps their divine power to create and destroy could save the universe. With no other plan, the team prepared to travel. Fearing the worst, they equipped 5 vault packs, each capable of channeling godlike energy, so that if all else failed, they might wield the brothers' power directly. Following the possessor's directions, they found the brothers seated in a ring upon ancient pedestals inside a newly revealed holy chamber. As the team approached, the brothers' eyes began to glow, and the ceiling of the chamber opened like the iris of a portal, identical to the gateway at the alternate tower. The team watched in awe. They did not know that the opening sent a beacon through space, a signal meant to draw the attention of their unseen enemy. Far away, dark alien overlords detected the pulse and rejoiced. They opened a colossal rift in space, and through it emerged the Dyson sphere, descending directly above the planet of the brothers. A deep vibration shook the chamber. The team looked up, frozen in horror as the gigantic structure eclipsed the sky. Confusion turned to dread. How could such a massive object travel so far, so quickly, and find them so precisely? Moments later, a red beam of energy lanced downward from the Dyson sphere, striking the center of the chamber and growing brighter by the second. The team, terrified, rushed to act. In desperation, they inserted the ancient brothers into the vault packs before they could be taken or destroyed by the beam. At once, the brothers awakened. Their light surged through the packs, taking control of all 5 explorers at once. The team's eyes burned with divine radiance as the brothers assumed their forms, godlike avatars gazing at one another with calm understanding. Raising their hands toward the heavens, their eyes glowed white. When the 2 brothers who had been guarding Herther's prison left their post, the energy binding him dissolved. Drawn by the power of the Dyson sphere and the radiant beacon of the brothers Herther, now little more than a phantom of pure malice, sped across the universe. He appeared before them in a monstrous form, twisted and immense, his body wreathed in dark flame. With a roar that shook the air, he bellowed at the Dyson sphere above, "They're mine!" In an instant, he seized control of the sphere's crew, turning their minds into extensions of his own will. The sphere's weapons ignited, unleashing torrents of energy upon the world below. But the brothers raised a shimmering barrier, shielding the shrine from destruction. Through their mortal hosts they ascended into the air, circling Herther's divine form in a storm of light. Bolts of radiant energy struck from every direction. Herther fought back, tearing open portals to his own dark realm in an attempt to lure them inside and trap them. But the brothers turned his tactic against him. They tore his monstrous body apart, scattering the fragments through his own portals, raining pieces of his broken form down upon his followers as a grim sign of defeat. Though he could not truly die, Herther's power was shattered. His spirit, reduced to a flickering ember, was captured within the ring artifact, where one of the brothers absorbed him once more to ensure his eternal imprisonment. Then, the brothers' eyes widened and turned brilliant white. The red beam from the Dyson sphere shifted to pure light, its energy traveling upward to the heavens. The dark corruption was purged. The sphere itself remained intact, its enslaved occupants freed of their curse, transformed into beings of luminous peace. The brothers, still inhabiting the vault packs and guiding the team's bodies, ascended to the Dyson sphere and assumed command. Only they understood the truth. This reunion, this very sequence of events, had always been their plan. Their energy bound the team in a state of immortality as they departed, vanishing into the universe aboard the Dyson sphere to watch over creation for eternity. The passing of ages. Billions of years passed. The universe evolved, stars were born and died, civilizations rose and fell. The Dyson sphere still drifted through the void, carrying the brothers and their eternal hosts. The team lived within a dreamlike state, their minds lost in illusion, reliving memories, imagining new lives, unaware that everything they had once known had long turned to dust. Though they had reunited the brothers and saved the universe, one truth remained. They had never returned the brothers to Mundus, and because of that, the sacred world slowly decayed, becoming the darkest place of all. The new hero. Eons later, a new hero emerged. Witnessing the universe unraveling, they prayed for salvation. The possessor appeared once more, shining as he had in ancient times. He explained that the universe's collapse stemmed from the erosion of Mundus, its corruption spreading through the very star map that contained all creation. The only way to restore balance, he said, was to infiltrate the Dyson sphere, convince the brothers to release their mortal hosts, and return to Mundus to repair the star map. The hero embarked on a perilous journey, making alliances, stealing passage aboard forbidden ships, navigating hostile worlds. With the help of a loyal creature companion, they finally reached the Dyson sphere and found the brothers. In the sphere's central chamber, the possessor's spirit merged with the hero's body, transforming them into a radiant deity equal in presence to the brothers themselves. The godlike figure addressed them calmly. Do you still care for what you once created? Do you care enough to mend what you have broken? He showed them visions of Mundus in ruin, the star map unraveling, the primordial sacrosanct still battling endless beasts while waiting for their return. The brothers felt guilt, sorrow, and renewed purpose. The possessor's spirit withdrew, leaving the hero weakened but alive. The vault packs opened, and the brothers ascended once more, guided by the possessor's light. Together, they returned to Mundus in beams of white fire. Their energy swept across the world, purifying the land and rebuilding the fortress. Life bloomed again, and the star map's light returned to harmony. The return of the team. When the restoration was complete, the team awakened inside the Dyson sphere, now freed from possession. They were disoriented, alive, but stranded in a future so distant that everything they knew was gone. The hero explained the truth gently. Billions of years had passed. The universe they once knew no longer existed. The team mourned the loss of their pilot, Hermit Shell, who had not worn a vault pack and thus never shared their immortality. They returned with the hero to their new home, trying to find purpose in a changed cosmos. Possessor appeared once again, radiant and kind. Still a path back, he said. If you reach the repaired Mundus and touch the restored star map, the brothers can return you to the moment before your divine possession. You may live your mortal lives again, in victory. He warned them not to meet their past selves aboard the Dyson sphere, for doing so would erase them from existence. The team accepted eagerly. The final journey. Following the Possessor's guidance, they reached a field of massive asteroids. With the hero's help, the stones parted, revealing the original alternate tower gateway, preserved as if frozen in time. In some versions of the tale, the relic was displayed as a collector's treasure, or housed in a museum, misinterpreted by scholars as an ancient monument. But however they found it, the result was the same. The team reactivated the portal. The hero generated an energy field to stabilize the platform. The team offered the hero a choice: to come with them to see Mundus restored. The hero accepted. Together, they leapt into the portal, vanishing in a burst of light. The eternal creation. They found themselves once more in the sacred chamber of Mundus, but now it was perfect. The walls shimmered, the air hummed with divinity. This time, the doors opened freely. Exploring the restored fortress, the team marveled at how the brothers had renewed everything. The gardens lush, the sky golden, the sacrosanct serene upon his mountain throne. In the star map chamber, the brothers and the Possessor awaited them. The hero expressed gratitude and asked to remain for a time, unable to leave such holiness behind. The Possessor agreed to grant them one day within Mundus. When that day ended, the brothers tuned the star map to each traveler's rightful moment. The team and the hero placed their hands upon it and vanished. Each returned home in peace. Alone in the fortress, the Possessor and the brothers stood before the star map. With a gesture, they reshaped it into a hovering crystal sphere. The wall opened to reveal a hidden chamber, lined with countless others just like it. Each sphere contained an entire universe. The brothers placed the new star map among them and gazed upward at their endless creation. Then, as the light grew around them, the Possessor shed his Godzupian form, his true face shining as pure white light. Smiling, he turned to the brothers and asked softly, "Again?" There was a flash of brilliance, and a new star map formed. Larger, more intricate, filled with uncharted patterns. The brothers smiled in return, as if knowing the eternal cycle would continue forever. Epilogue. Back in their time, the team reported their victory to Arcolman. They struggled to describe all they had seen. Mundus restored, the star map repaired, the brothers reborn, and the new hero who had saved them from immortal captivity. They celebrated quietly at their Godzupian mansion, reflecting on the ages that had passed. Beaver, thinking of the new hero, gazed out the window at the stars and said softly, "Strange to think he won't even be born for billions of years." The others smiled, wondering if their adventures had finally come to an end, or if, somewhere out there, another story was already beginning.